Jawaban. Three, two, one. What's going on, everyone? It's Ash on Comics. Storytime Live, episode 54. Can't believe I got 54 episodes. That's more episodes than Hawkman, sadly. How was everyone tonight? I hope you're having a good night. Winding down for the evening and preparing for new comic book day tomorrow. Anyone going to get new comics? I'll be going to get new comics, hopefully in the morning. Let's see who's in the chat. Melissa is first. Dragon Majesty comes in second, says, Melissa, you are unstoppable. Indeed she is. She is the reigning, still undefeated. Well, I don't know if she's undefeated. She's been defeated a few times, but man, she is certainly the point leader. And we got Rusty Deo bringing in third. He says not first. Ed's in the house. Good to see you, Ed. Zach Richmond, Tehillim. I hear people mispronounce his name probably more than any other name that I've ever seen. And then now I can't pronounce it straight because I hear it mispronounced all the time. Tehillim. Good to see you guys. Anyone else that's also there but hasn't put in the chat, hello to you too, lurking in the background. It's been kind of a boring day and week for me. Not a whole lot to talk about, I feel like. Hopefully you guys have something to talk about. I just been browsing some comics. I realize I can't do Amazing Spider-Man 301 because it's not on Comixology. And so I got to think of something new for to transition over for new comics, or for the first comic to read for the evening. Yeah, no Eric Breen tonight again. Man, he's really disappointing me. I'm looking for suggestions, by the way, for anyone that's wanting to, has any ideas of things that I can read. Just go to Comixology. You don't have to be a Comixology member to see what's unlimited. You can just peruse the unlimited library, and if there's something that you think would be a good comic for the show, send me a tweet, DM, send me a message on what's that thing, Discord. My brain is just not there tonight. Send me there. You can email me, but I'm so bad I hate email. I think email is such an antiquated thing. Or leave comments on the channel, because I do try to check every single comment that's left on the channel, so I can see it there. I finished watching Umbrella Academy, the TV show. Have you guys watched that show, Umbrella Academy? Where is it on? Netflix. You can watch it on Netflix. It's a Netflix original. It's pretty good. Many moons ago, I featured this book on the Ash and Bats show, Umbrella Academy, where we used to have a show, me and Sergeant Bats, and it was a pretty decent show for a couple of putzes. And the concept was sort of like, well, it was like a little bit of a talk radio show, but also every week we would do one show a week, and every week we'd feature a new book. And 1 week Bats would nominate the book, the next week I would. And the concept was to nominate something, number one, that it had to be on Comixology Unlimited, so we wanted audience members to be able to participate, so you read the books. If you had a Comixology Unlimited membership, you didn't have to pay any extra. And number two, it had to be something readable and we could cover. It couldn't be this gigantic omnibus, so we were trying to keep it 200 pages or less. And number three, it had to be something that we hadn't read. And then each of us, we had special veto rules behind the scenes of what we could do. And we made a list of books, that we would have wanted. So it was like, I threw up a bunch of books in a list that I was thinking about suggesting, and then he would throw up a list, and I would go in and cross out ones and be like, no, absolutely don't do this one or don't do that one. And he would do the same. And then from that, we would pull our books every week. And Umbrella Academy was one of the ones I picked. I had heard about. This is before the TV show. I had just heard about it, and I just had a feeling. And we did that book, man. And this book blew me away. I loved this book, but I didn't, for whatever reason, when the show came out, it didn't pique my interest. I looked at the trailers and stuff, and I was like, this looks okay. And no one really was talking about it being amazing or anything. People said it was pretty good, but my buddy wanted to see it, so we've been watching it for the past week, and we just finished the end of the first season, and it's pretty good. I think I enjoyed the comic book more, but I definitely enjoyed it, and especially the end. I thought the last episode, it pretty much kind of followed the book. So I don't know if any of you guys have seen it or read the book or both or whatever your intentions are. My buddy kind of liked it. He hasn't read the book, and he was enjoying it. The end, he said the last couple episodes weren't the best, but he still liked it enough. He wants to keep watching, so that was his opinion. I definitely want to go back and read this book now. I was like, I don't remember. I was like, stuff was happening. I was like, I don't remember this being in the book. Like, so I feel like they added a lot of stuff, and I really want to go back and revisit it, especially now because it was reminding me how much I was forgetting. So, and I love this when I read through this. It's only 6 issues, 178 pages. I would say if you have not seen the show or read the book, read the book first, in my opinion. I like the book better. I don't think the book will play off as well to you if you've already seen the show. The show will spoil everything, and then reading the book will still be okay, but you won't get the same wow factor, I don't think. Also, the show is very, how do we say, decompressed, right? I think it's 12 episodes, and each episode is way longer than like a single comic's worth of stuff, and the original thing is only 6 comics. So they really took a pretty, I don't want to say dense story, but it was pretty solid, and they really stretched it out. Now, they also added things to it, so it wasn't like they just took the exact same story and made it slower. They kind of did what Jackson did with The Hobbit, and was like, let's add all of the stuff that wasn't in the book. Now, a lot of people might be groaning to that because I know The Hobbit's not really well received. And I'm not trying to say that it's done poorly or you're not going to like it. I'm not trying to turn you off if you're a person who hates what happened with The Hobbit. But it's kind of like that, where there's just a lot of extra stuff. And I haven't read any of the other Umbrella Academies. Part of me suspects that the stuff that happens in the first season are plot points that happen in later books that they wanted to insert now, so that in later seasons that they do the future books, they'll have like underlying subplots already established. That's my guess. So I recommend it. The book, The Umbrella Academy, the book is really good. I really, really like the book. It kind of reminds me a little bit of X-Men meets The Watchmen. I guess it's kind of dysfunctional. It's very stylized, but it has purpose and heart to it. So, Zach says, I haven't watched it yet, but I've been meaning to. Rex in the house. Good to see you. He says, I got kind of bored with it easily. Are you talking about the show? If you started watching the show and you didn't finish it, I still urge you to go check out the book, because the book is much faster paced. Like I said, the TV show really, really decompresses the story, and so things take a lot longer to come together. It doesn't ruin it per se. Like I said, I really did enjoy it, and they they keep the story accurate while it's kind of like the Hobbit trilogy, like it's the same story. Like Smaug still comes at the end. It just took you 9 hours to get there. Or that one. The Hobbit should have been just one movie. But, anyways, um, I recommend the book. It's a cool book. And if you're really still not convinced, if you're like, nope, I'm never gonna read this book, go track down the Ash and Bats episode that I did that we talked about the book. Um, maybe that'll give you the cliff notes and explain what you missed. Zach says, I'm one of the weirdos who loves the Hobbit trilogy. I'm not a weirdo. I think millions of people love the Hobbit trilogy. It just Peter Jackson pulled a literal prequels thing like George Lucas. He's like, he just like George Lucas, who got overindulgent when he did his prequels. Peter Jackson did the same thing, just too overindulgent. But just like the prequels, Star Wars prequels, they have their value. They're not terrible. They're just, compared to what the original thing that made them, the original Lord of the Rings trilogy, the original Star Wars trilogy, both of them kind of pale in comparison. Ryuk says, stone him. Melissa says, do classic comic. Well, Melissa, I've been doing that for the past 3 nights. I need some actual specific recommendations. However, that would be more helpful because I know that I want to do comics. Oh, look, I could do Ignited #1. Don't you just want me to read that book? Book about terrorists. No, not Venditti Superman. I mean, we could do the next issue of that. Let's see. I got a lot of stuff. My problem is do I want to start a new series, or do I want to just read something one-off? That's always the problem with me. Ryuk says no Ignited. What? You don't like Mark Waid? Terrorists? Ed says do otherwise expensive or key issues. Well, okay. Well, that I gotta work for my money that I don't actually make, apparently. Well, I don't know what issues. Like I said, they have to be available on Comixology. Melissa says Old Man Hawkeye. We already did Old Man Hawkeye. Weren't you there? I'm just scrolling through stuff that I have recently purchased. Read a lot of this stuff on air. Manga challenge, Ash on Comics. Manga. The problem with manga is it's so long. Like, I would have fun doing a manga, I think, but it's just they're not meant to be. They're just long ass stories. I could read a couple chapters, but I don't know. Would that really come off well? I don't know. I've been meaning to try this Captain Midnight. Marania's in the house. Hey, Marania, good to see you. As far as I'm concerned, of the Lord of the Ring trilogy of books, they are in and of themselves decompressed. Two Towers was a slog to get through reading wise, and could be cut in my opinion. Oh, I don't disagree, Marania. The books, the Lord of the Rings really was decompressed, which makes the the trilogy that Peter Jackson did of films so brilliant in my opinion, because he really consolidated that storyline and cut out some of the fat. He made some mistakes, especially with Return of the King. Return of the King is the worst adaptation. I was really disappointed. I mean, it's a beautiful movie, but it drops some key points of the book that, I mean, my favorite parts of the book are in Return of the King, and he cut, like, he just didn't do it right. I was like, what the, how do you do this? I don't understand. But other than that, I think the whole trilogy is a masterpiece. Peter Jackson told a decompressed story, condensed it down, and made it better, which is ironic because of The Hobbit. He took a compressed story, and I think The Hobbit is weaker of the books compared to like Lord of the Rings. The Hobbit is a much simpler book. It's very basic, but I think translation wise to a film, it would have made the best of the movies because it has the beats are so fast paced. If you would have condensed The Hobbit into one movie, and have all the goblins, the orcs, the elves at the elves of Mirkwood, and the escape, and then getting to Rivertown, and then Smog, and then the Battle of Five Armies, and you do that into like 1 3-hour film, that thing moves on at a brisk pace that just leaves you stunned by the end of it. You're just like, oh my god, what did I just watch? But instead, the movies kind of slog because he wants to just carry it over 3 films, and he just did the reverse. I thought that was really ironic. But of course, they wanted to make 3 times the money. And let's see. Dragon Match says, all new Wolverine for a laugh. Sahelim says, how classic, Melissa. How far back? Stone Age comics. I have to ask Eric if we could borrow some of his. Melissa says, no, I like classic Golden Age, Silver Age, Bronze Age comics. Zach says, speaking of prequels, there's a new Injustice prequel series available digitally. Oh yeah, I heard about that. I'm not sure what to think, man. I get really nervous around Tom Taylor. Ronnie says, what's the Avengers book or the XO on that page? This Avengers is the original Kree Skrull War. I picked this up free a while back when Marvel was giving away free books. So I'd never turned down free books. And this is actually the book Eric Breen, that is, really likes. So I was like, oh, hey, look, it's free. And then XO... it's probably Armor Hunters. These were all free Valiants. I have so many of these because when COVID hit, all the comic companies were trying to make sure they didn't get forgotten, so they were just giving away free books all the time. And so I just went and grabbed everything I could. The problem now is it's just my box is polluted, so to speak, with just tons of stuff that I'm like, I'm interested because it's free, but dog. Thought my dog was like puking on the floor or something. She's just rolling around. Anyways, I was saying, yeah, so I have all these. I picked up like over 100 Valiant books. So now I just have like 100 Valiant books sitting in my recently purchased list. So it's kind of a pain in the ass to sift through. Let's see. Kree Skrull War sounds good. It could be, but that's like a big, it's like a big story. That's my concern about that one. There's always like a downside. I should just read East to West on air. So this is what we're currently reading through, this Winter Soldier series. So I don't want to read something just like it. I want to kind of diversify. Oh, you know what? I have this Die. Never read Die. Huh. Tahilim's nominating Ninjak by Matt Kent. Rania says Armor Wars is also good, but it's a big story too. Yeah, see, that's the difficulty, especially in modern day comics. There's so many so many just like long storylines. Like they don't just do like here's a a 2-issue story arc of whatever. Oh, you know what I'm gonna do? Maybe I should read Daredevil, because I'm always talking about this book and people aren't reading it, um, or some of them are. But I got the first 3 issues of Daredevil. Speaking of Sergeant Bats, he's the one that donated them to the channel. Um, yeah, these might be fun to read. And that way would tie up perfectly because I have 3 issues of this. I'm reading 6 issues, I think, of the Brubaker Cap. Yeah. Any strong opposition to this? The best comic at Marvel? Rania says that was back in the 1980s or thereabouts. Kree Scroll War? I think Kree Scroll War might have been the 70s. Where did it go? No, great, of course. Comixology is going to do this to me. Oh, I just go to library. Avengers. I think it's here. Yeah, there it is. Hopefully will tell us. Issue info. 1963, Maranya, if this is what you're talking about. To heal him, the Sergeant Bats who walks. Maranya says, no, the Armor Wars. No, Armor Wars would have been in the 2000 teens? Unless it's the original Armor Wars, that would have been in the 90s. Because Valiant came around in the 90s. And then they sold to Acclaim. And then Dasan Dushemi, I forget his name. It's got an Indian name. He bought it back. And restarted Valiant back in 2011. Launched their first books in 2012. And then they redid another Armor Wars. They kind of rebooted the whole line. Iron Man Demon in a Bottle. I don't have Demon in a Bottle. Marani says there were 2 Armor Wars. Yes, that is correct. There was Armor Wars, the original, or unless you're talking about Iron Man Armor Wars. Then now it's getting really confusing. Yeah, because there's Iron Man Armor Wars, and then there's Valiant's Armor Wars. Melissa knows what I'm talking about. What did Melissa say? Oh, she's saying classic Iron Man, and you're just cheering her on. Well, like I said, I'm taking recommendations, but it's got to be something I can read because I'm not just gonna I can't afford to just buy books. If I were monetized or whatever, getting donations, I could do that, but I can't just afford, unfortunately. What else would I be talking about, Ash? Well, that's a good point, Maranya. I know you're a big Iron Man fan, and I probably should have went that direction, but I had I had Valiant's Armor Wars on the screen, so my mind went there first. All right, no one opposed Daredevil, so I think that's a good. It's only be 3 issues. Let people know if they've been missing something. Where was it? Here's all the millions of Valiants that I got to scroll through again. By the way, I feel like I did Ninjak. This was a book I also did on the Ash and Bat show. Not this is the Christos Gage one. Where is it? I'm sure it's around here somewhere. It may not be in this. I did the Ninjak Matt Kent, and it's really good. If you the Ash and Bat show, I recommend that series. Speaking of Matt Kent, there he is. Good writer. Matt Kent's EXO is really cool. Here it is. Matt Kent's Ninjak Clayman art. Can you believe this? In 2015, Valiant Comics was having Matt Kent and writing and Clayman drawing. This Valiant from 2012 to 2018 or 2017, that 5 years, they were trouncing DC and Marvel in terms of quality. Now, granted, they only had a handful of books, but crap. Oh, good. It saved the Daredevil there for me. Ronnie says, if you're still struggling for a pick, I'll give Blind Warrior a try. All right, cool. And if you haven't read this, then this is going to be somewhat of a treat for you, I hope. This is in my opinion the best book at modern day Marvel. Now it is modern day Marvel, so the bar is not super high. But Chip Zdarsky is steadily proving himself to be one of the great modern writers. Mark Gicchetto is the artist that was formerly seen on the channel when we did what was it? Old Man Hawkeye. So this is the book that sold me. This is the book that got me back into Marvel, thanks to Sergeant Batts donating these 3 books. He's like, here, try this out. And I couldn't stop. I was like, I got to buy this book. So let's go big screen. And Zach says, whoa. You have Dan Abnett, Guardians of the Galaxy? Apparently. Zach says, wait a second, you have Long Halloween? Yes, I have Long Halloween. But that's like a 12 or 13 issue series. We're trying to pick something that's like 4 to 6 max. Yeah, it's otherwise I just, otherwise I have to do the thing that I'm always doing, like we did with Old Man Hawkeye. I only read 6 of the 12 issues. Let's see. Zach says that gets my vote. All right, Zach, we'll keep that in mind next time I'm asking, so you can remind me. That's definitely a good suggestion. So maybe we'll go to that. But for now, I think this 3-issue run of Daredevil will be fun to read. And I want to do this one too because unlike the Captain America, which is something that's fresh for me, I've never read it. You're getting a blind take of, no pun intended, of Captain America. This is something that I actually have read. I've actually reviewed these books on the channel. So I'm getting to share with you guys a book that I love, and hopefully that fosters some good conversation. We shall see. Let's get the big screen. Ed says, I'm a casual fan of Daredevil. Let's see what Chip's got. Oh, Chip's got whatever Chip's got. I don't know. Okay, I'm not witty. Okay, moving on. And here we go. This is Daredevil number 1, Legacy number 613, because Marvel's stupid. Taken? Nah. Don't think so anyway. There was a guy. This was his party. Shit fucked up everyone's night. Haven't seen him in a while though. Maybe he went too hard, too fast. Scotch. Neat. McCullen, if you have it. This place, I'd say, once every 2 weeks, gets a party celebrating a guy either getting out of prison or, like tonight, getting out of going to prison. What happened, do you know? Yeah, hard not to know with everyone shouting. Guy broke into some family's house, but the dad came home early and bit a bullet. Went to trial, but wouldn't you know it, the one witness who saw him run from the the one witness who saw him run from the house suddenly couldn't ID him. Shocking. Would you mind telling me what time it is? The clock's right in front of you, man. What are you? Oh, my God. I'm so sorry. I didn't. It's okay. I make it hard for people to notice. What are you? I don't want to be rude, but this is a pretty shit bar. What are you even doing here? Just because I'm blind doesn't mean I'm a hermit. It's weirdly easy to forget that I can't see in a place like this. I like hearing the people, the clatter, even the smells fill in the cracks. Places like this are a picture. What are those for? Pain. Recovering from an accident. Can I have one? Sorry. That would be illegal. Chip Zdarsky, Mark Cicchetto, and Sonny Go. When Matt Murdock was a kid, he lost his sight in an accident involving radioactive chemicals. Though he could no longer see, the chemicals heightened Murdoch's other senses and imbued him with an amazing 360-degree radar sense. Now Matt uses his abilities to fight for his city as Daredevil. Matt's life almost came to an end after a traumatic collision left him clinging to life. Now, after weeks of intense physical therapy, he has returned to Hell's Kitchen. No Fear, Part 1. Damn it, Matthew. You can't stay here. I know that. Just listen to me for once. Jack Murdoch? Been a while since I've seen you here. Yeah, Father. Sorry, busy with the fights and the job, and speaking of which, I'm gonna be late. I'm at my rope's end with this one, Father. Just picked him up from the flippin' precinct and breaking and entering. I told you, I didn't break, I just entered. Listen to this, kid. I swear I'm raising a lawyer. Do your confession and then get home and clean the kitchen. I'll be home by midnight. So, you didn't do anything wrong, Matthew? No? Then I suppose we can skip the confession. What happened? Jeremy Colton happened. He conned Davy White out of his baseball cards. Davy's not that bright, Father, and Jeremy knows that. So I got the cards back. Which were in his home, I'm assuming? Yeah. But you were righting an injustice. Exactly. Who cares if I broke the law? God would have wanted me to get those cards back for Davy. Render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's. What? When Jesus was asked if it was lawful to pay taxes to Caesar, that's how he responded. Caesar's face adorned the coins, so they were his. We move through two kingdoms, Matthew. The kingdom of God is paramount, but we have obligations here in the material world as well. Rules of order to follow. You're a good boy, Matthew, and you did a good thing for your friend, righting an injustice. But man's laws are still man's laws. So you did one thing wrong as far as I can see. You got caught. I almost died. It's been weeks. That was nice. Camilla, my physical therapist, was stunned by how quickly I bounced back. But she didn't know. And so is this place. What are you, a lawyer or something? That's exactly what I am, actually. Or I used to be. Figuring out what's next. What, you going through some existential crisis or something? Is picking up in bars part of it? Because I'm kind of going through that myself. I'm the former leader of an order of ninjas. I've died before. I've returned. I'm Daredevil. And my old teacher, Stick, he told me, half measures are for half a life. So I got better. I've just been through a lot. The pills I was taking in the bar were for... I was hit by a truck. It was bad. Surgeries, recovery. Oh, man, look, I don't know you or anything, but you should probably get one of those seeing eye dogs. I'm better. Hey, I gotta go. Hope that's not rude. I just gotta be at work early and I don't trust my roommate to feed my cat, but I swear. If you give me your number, I'll probably text you or call. Probably. You trust me. You don't want to get involved with me. Wow. I'm not proposing, Mr. Dark and Mysterious. You're totally not my type. But I gotta admit, as soon as I realized in the bar that you were blind, I was much more interested to... Please don't make my disability your fetish. No, I'm not. I swear. Your muscles are my fetish. Look, every day I'm being judged on my looks. I'm just saying I like this because you paid attention to me, and I could let my guard down a bit. I picked you up with my charm. And yeah, I don't have to worry about what weird things my face is doing. I don't have to worry if I'm pretty enough. And yet you're beautiful. And yet I'm beautiful. Matt Murdock has terrible taste in women. Guy didn't get a good look at the perp. Happened fast, dark. Like he'd tell us even if he did see. Well, he heard him, and apparently that's enough for him to say it was Daredevil. Well, that's that. Let's wrap it up. Back to the station. What? Look, my advice, pretend you didn't hear that. Mayor Fisk is gung-ho on catching these heroes, and I'm here to tell you, you won't. Oh, for Ed, I'm not going to. We're short-staffed. You want eyes on us? Drag this out. Pile up the workload? Go ahead, write Daredevil as a possible suspect. Nobody catches these guys. You just live with it. And besides, the victim is Pistol Pat Albano. The man's nickname is a type of gun. I don't care that the mystery has his broken leg. Sorry. I don't care that the mystery of his broken leg will go on. Wait. Did you call for backup? No, I swear. It must be just a patrol. Do we know who did this? No. Victim didn't have a visual, so... I'm sorry, but have we met? Because this is our crime scene, so... Who did this to you?
Daredevil.
What's your name, officer?
Tina Deacon. I didn't have a visual, so...
I'm going to have to report this, Officer Deacon. But I'll put in my report that I suspect you were coerced by Detective Taylor to obfuscate the perp's identity.
What?
I don't know who the hell you think you are, but this is my crime scene and I... Detective Cole North, transferred from Chicago to the 18th. And you're Detective Edward Taylor, 18 years on the force, no major busts, no major anything. But word is, you take really nice vacations. Oh, that's it. I don't give a fuck who you are, big man. Say one more word about me and I'll knock you flat on your ass. Go ahead, one more word. Excuse me, son. Yes? Are you able to radio into dispatch? Yes? Good. We may need to call in a second ambulance.
I'm sorry. I wanted to report.
It's all right, Detective. I understand. But just so you understand, this is not something we turn away from. There is no justice here, no law. A man was beaten. To what end? Did this hero picture him turning his life around, going straight because a man in a devil costume beat him up? No. The man who did this, the daredevil of Hell's Kitchen, he did it for one reason. Because he needed to. Because he liked it. Now, go enjoy your Sunday. And don't forget next week's bake sale. We need to fix the roof, people.
Oh, Father, what a perfect sermon. I often tell my Charlie about finding wonder in this world, but you know how he is. I tell him, Charlie, you need to...
Thank you, Miss Timmons. Please try to bring Charlie next time. Matthew?
Father Cathal?
It's good to see you here. And so soon after... Is your father here?
No, Dad's working. He's always working. The hospital bills were... He wanted me to come here, so I came.
Now we can see the accident that's eventually created Daredevil has happened. Little Matt Murdock is blind. Well, I'm glad you're here, Matthew. Apologies, son, but I have a meeting with another parishioner shortly. If you'd like, Sister Wilma can escort you home.
I can get home on my own just fine. And I don't need confession. I'm blind now, Father. I can't do anything, and if I can't do anything, I can't sin.
You and I both know that isn't true. I can hear it in your voice. Your sin is hating God. You saved a man's life, and God took your sight. Everything you feel right now is normal. When God takes from us, it can be hard to feel what He's given us. The beauty of this world isn't just one of sights. It won't seem like it now, but I believe God is revealing the world to you in other ways. On the road to the man you'll become. You'll experience the world like I can't even imagine. It's okay to be angry at God now, Matthew. It's understandable. But believe me, God loves you. Can't sleep. Lying in that hospital bed, waiting for my body to knit itself back together. It was like being caged. Screaming without a voice. And now I'm out of the cage. I've only been back as Daredevil for a week or so, but God, I needed it.
It was sloppy tonight, going after that guy without the costume, but he shot a man, killed him, and he got away with it. But he couldn't get away from me. My radar sense, I used it to bring me some sense of joy, feeling everything around me, defining my surroundings. But lately it just feels like another cage. I feel the walls, the ceiling. I feel the box. It vibrates off the windows. It's like a song, the tiny rattle of the outside pressing against it, the change in temperature running through it. It's all to remind me. Been gone too long. It's in the air. Hell's Kitchen has an itch. I've lived here all my life, and I can tell, I can feel when people are ready to scratch that itch. Scratch it by robbing, by fighting, by murdering. Daredevil's been gone, and anything goes. I've been scratching itches too since I got back. Foggy wouldn't approve of the woman tonight, the casualness of it. But Foggy, God bless him, rents a moving van after he sleeps with someone. He wouldn't approve of this either, but people need to know. So I run in circles across rooftops. I'm not hiding. I want people to catch a glimpse of the devil. 4 people have spotted me tonight, from the streets, from windows. They may not have the itch, but they'll tell people they saw me, and they'll tell others. And eventually it reaches somebody who has their eye on the cash box at work, and they think twice. They imagine the devil. Damn. Not at peak grace yet. Still, feels good too. Robbery, 3 blocks away. The devils slip their minds. Come on. Just 'cause Dan knows the codes doesn't mean the cops aren't on the way. Just, we should grab some bottles too, man, to celebrate. Man, how is Dan not going to jail for this? He was fired like 2 weeks ago. That's why we gotta hold the money until, oh shit, the spike. That boom of the heart when they see it's me. I'm not gonna lie, I've missed it. Simple break and enter, though it doesn't appear to be much of a break. Probably an inside click. Enhanced hearing could do without guns in this world. A third perp. Bang. Ksh. Talk. Can almost smell his sweat from here. Clearly the guy who got them access to the shop, staying away from the cameras. Better wrap this up before the cops. Chuck. How careless, arrogant. Need to shut this down. Wait, that smell. Alcohol burning. I need to. 2 low-level crooks and I'm floundering. Embarrassing. Bang! No, 3. Can't even count. Useless. Just. Ksh. Sirens. 2 blocks away. Need to fight the fire, but can't. 1 block. Fisk still has cops under orders to arrest heroes on sight. Got it. Damn it. A 10:59 in progress at 10th and 54th. Hands where I can see them. Unbelievable. Where? I thought I saw. I've fought the Hulk, Ultron, armies of ninjas. And my obituary almost just read, Daredevil killed by 3 robbers. Oh, and by the way, he was Matt Murdock, local lawyer and former mayor. I thought I was. I've got to get better. The injuries, the years. How much longer can I do this? Before it kills me. May God, who has enlightened every heart, help you to know your sins and trust in his mercy. Amen. Bless me, Father. For I have sinned. I've sinned. I've used great violence, but for the good, to help. My son, this sounds serious. Is it? Didn't Jesus drive the money changers from the temple with a whip? Isn't violence sometimes justified? Can't I be the hands of God? The mind controls the hands, son. Is it truly God controlling yours? Yes, Jesus drove them out of the temple with some degree of violence, but he was the Son of God. You are just a man. And men who succumb to violence, no matter the justification, can grow to crave it. It destroys your spirit. It destroys lives. I can hear it in your voice, Matthew. You're on a precipice. There is a difference between a man who saves someone through the unfortunate use of violence and someone who seeks violence like an addict. Matthew? Meeting with the Board of Trade at 11:30 shouldn't take long. They just want to make sure that you have some FaceTime with the mayor. Oh, sorry. They just want to make sure to have some FaceTime with the mayor. Meanwhile, back at the crime scene, see Detective North. Around 4, the reporter from the Bugle will be here. They want to do a Mayor Fisk's first year piece. I told them they could have 10 minutes of your time before Le Conchon at 9 with Harvard Wells. It should be a good evening as Chef Lapierre is back. Click. Firefighters were quick to the scene, stopping the fire from spreading to pick you up afterwards with the next day's agenda. Wesley. Quiet. Surrounding buildings, surveillance cameras captured the 3 robbers in an altercation with the masked vigilante Daredevil who evaded capture. Police are asking anyone with information on his whereabouts to contact the authorities. 2 of the unidentified robbers have been released from the hospital and are in police custody. The third, Leo Carrero, has died from reported head trauma. To be continued. So, this is
the setup of what's now 21 issue arc of Daredevil. It's essentially Daredevil, because he's injured and he wasn't at 100%, and he was letting himself slide. He kills a crime suspect, not purposely, but he died, and this whole story is going to come to haunt him. And of course, Kingpin isn't going to let that slide. Let's see what's going on in the chats. Dun, dun, dun. Let's see. Marani says, that would be illegal. Wonderful line for a lawyer to say. Yeah, I know, right? Tahilim says, amazing art. I agree. Marani says, raising a lawyer, foreshadowing and dialogue. Exactly. Melissa points out the hand. Yep, good references. Rania says, no, Matt has bad luck with women. There's a difference. Oh, you just wait and see, Marania. You just wait. I contend that Matt has bad taste in women. You may also be right. We may both be right. But he does not have good taste in women, in my personal opinion. But again, that leaves open for some good dialogue. Ed says, "Whoa, it's a fight! This part is good." Melissa Harris, Daredevil, don't have Batman's. Wait, Batman doesn't. Oh, I think you were trying to say Batman doesn't have Batman. Sorry. I think you were trying to say Daredevil doesn't have Batman's technology or riches, which is true. Ryuk says, dun, dun, dun. Ronnie says, well, damn, it retells the origin a bit and gives Daredevil his motivations for future events. Exactly. This is a book that, it's a number one. Marvel likes to reboot their stuff. And Chip he sets up a story that's a beginning. And I think all beginnings need to have some semblance of origins. People disagree with me on this. But I do. I think, you got the idea that every comic could be someone's first comic. And a number one should be doubly considered to be someone's at least first comic of that particular thing. So you have to assume, if you're making a Daredevil number one, that someone's never read Daredevil before. And I think hinting at some of his origin stuff is both useful for the new reader, but I think it also, I'm an old school Daredevil fan, so I don't mind. I like seeing those takes from his origin. I like seeing different perspectives. We kind of know that he had an accident and caused blind. We know, but we didn't get to see necessarily all the different scenes, like with the priest. One of my favorite things in this book that sets up both the priest, but even more so Detective Cole North, who ends up becoming one of my favorite new characters in comics. He's a great side character, I think, that Daredevil really needs, right? Because if you think of like Batman, think of like all the side characters you have. You got Commissioner Gordon, you got Lucius Fox, you got Bullock, you got Montoya, you've got what's the doctor's name that he goes to sometimes? Anyways, you have her. You used to have Alfred. Thanks, Tom King. But my point, of course, and you've got the whole Bat family. You've got a lot of great supporting cast characters. Daredevil's got Foggy. He's got a great enemy in the Kingpin. Karen Page, I think Karen Page had her time, but I thought her welcome got worn out a long time ago. He just needs more good side characters, and Cole North is one of the best that I've seen. And bravo, I applaud Zdarsky for being able to do that. Let's see. It says this is a way to restart a long-time character story arc. I agree. This book, and we'll read 2 more issues over the coming week. This book it really catapults Daredevil, and it's a great jumping on point. And you get to see one of the things I really like. I'm a big fan of the hero's journey, and it's difficult to do a hero's journey story with characters that have been around for a long time. But in this particular case, Daredevil kind of goes through an existential crisis. He gets injured to the point of near death. He's rehabilitating. He's getting older. He's losing his steps, all this stuff. And Zdarsky kind of comes up with a new way of letting Daredevil have another hero's journey. And it's fun to follow along. Plus, like I said, all these supporting characters he's setting up, so you get all this extra drama all over the place. What he does with Kingpin is really fun as well, I think. Another thing I like is Daredevil's faith is not ridiculed. Sadly, most modern comics feel the need to make fun of Judeo-Christian religions, but won't touch the other non-Western religions at all. Absolutely. Absolutely. That was one of the first things that stood out to me when I read this book for the very first time, is how appreciative I was that Chip Zdarsky, who at that point I didn't have a lot of faith in, because you got to remember, Chip Zdarsky's raging like SJW lefty liberal cuckoo. Like and I wouldn't read his books because, I mean, he's been blocked. I think he's been blocking me now for, well, since 2017. Like, never interacted with me. Just and he's the guy who, well, we won't get into all the stuff that he's done, but so I just avoided him. But about a year went by where he kind of changed his not changed his tone, but he just went silent. Like, he went off the grid. He stopped tweeting stuff and just whatever, stopped putting stuff in the comics, and just sort of like became a professional. And Bats, this is, I think, one of the reasons why Bats sent me these comics, because back then when these came out, I was like, fuck Chip Zdarsky, you know, like, and I got in some arguments behind the scenes in some DM groups we were in, and I was like, I don't care, the guy has contempt and da-da-da, and we got some arguments, and it was like, well, you know, if it's been like a year and they're not behaving this way still, like, are you just never gonna buy their stuff again? Are you never gonna give them a chance ever again? And I was like, you know, that's kind of a good point. The only, you know, I complained a lot that all I wanted to do, comic creators to do, was just be professional. I don't care about their politics. I'm not a person who's going to judge you or hate you because you have different politics than me, right? I don't mind. Like, everyone should be free. I'm a total advocate for free thinking, not my way of thinking. Now, I will try to persuade you to my way of thinking because I do think it's right, but I'm not going to judge you or look down on you because you have a different conclusion than me. Your life experiences are different than me. I could be wrong, you know? So I just want you to be professional and not show contempt for me if I'm buying your books. And Chip Zdarsky was doing that. So I was like, you know what? And then Bats got me these books. I was like, well, they're free. I'll read them. And one of the first things that stood out to me when I was reading this, I was like, wow, he's really writing this Catholic priest, very authentic feeling, right? And he's not writing him in a way that he's to be ridiculed later by other characters and be like, oh, look, he's, you know, like, he's writing this character as a respectable character, like that readers would read and go, oh, I like this guy. And whether or not you share the Catholic faith is not relevant. Like, and I really appreciated it. And then I've come to learn as I was reading the series, it didn't stop there. He treats every character this way, and they all have different beliefs. And each one is presented as their own individual, you know, being, if you will. And none of them are ever presented in a light to be ridiculed or mocked. And I really appreciated that. Like, he didn't try to preach in his books at all. He's like, he's just making characters that feel realistic and letting you, the reader, read the book, enjoy it, hopefully, and then walk away and have your own opinions without the book ever pushing anything on you. And I really appreciated that. And the book just gets better, by the way. Especially when Spider-Man shows up. The spoiler alert. Let's see. Another thing I like is oh yeah, you already said that. Okay, so let's, since there's no more comments, you guys just interested in the reading of the books, we will continue on to the reading of books. Book number 2 for tonight is Captain America. Where'd it go? No, not America. Here it is. Captain America issue number 4, where Brubaker is doing a similar type treatment for Captain America. Although this was like 10 years prior, at least. Yeah, about 10 years, 2009. But a similar type rebooting of Captain America and taking a serious light. I'm very much enjoying this. This was a recommendation by Eric Breen. I picked up the trade a while back, and I hadn't read it because I'm just a big procrastinator. So I was like, let's do it for the channel. And of course, now Eric doesn't show up. This is how it works. Ronnie says, see, I am Catholic, and it gets very tiring to see that faith bashed and mocked constantly in most media, much like how Italians are still pegged at times as mafia. I'm also half Italian. Oh, yeah, no, I understand. I'm not Catholic, although I was baptized Catholic, interestingly enough. But I am Christian. I do believe in God. And I understand about the whole faith bashing type of thing. And just in general, seculars like to ridicule religion, especially Christian religion, or any variants thereof. And Jews get a fair share as well too. Those are the big two. And it's just sad. Now, if you were to write a story and had characters in the story who were ridiculing, say a priest or whatever, but it was done for purposes of the story, that doesn't necessarily bother me because that's what happens in real life too. Like, that's something that's believable. People mock each other, and I don't necessarily mind that, but you can tell the difference between when it's something that serves the story right versus something where it's like the author is interjecting their own beliefs into the work and basically using it to preach at you. Like, haha, religion is stupid, and look at me make fun of it in the book. That's what bad writing is. And like I said, you will not find that in these Daredevil books. And hopefully you won't find in these Captain America books, although these are much, there's similarities, but a lot of differences too. Ryuk says, I say, be fair. You want to faith bash all religions. Sure, that makes sense to me. But I say, if you're going to write, don't bash anything. Just write a story. If you have to preach, if you have to proselytize in your story, you're not doing it right. You know what I'm saying? I tell people, look, like I admit I'm a Christian. I believe in God. But I don't read like stories that preach God to, I don't read Christian quote unquote fiction. I have here and there, but I don't, it comes off just as cringy to me when I see these movies that are preaching to me, like things that I believe. I believe this. I don't want to watch these movies like preach to me. Just tell me a good story. I don't necessarily mind if your story is about faith and about characters who have faith, right? Like this Daredevil story is really good. One of my favorite movies, you guys have probably seen, it's a popular movie, M. Night Shyamalan's Signs. Signs is a movie completely about faith, but it's never preachy to you. In fact, you don't even know it's a movie about faith until you get to the end, because it's meant to obfuscate like the whole signs. Like, it's spoiler alert, the signs aren't about aliens. Signs are about signs from God, but it never preaches to you. And so the movie comes off really well because it's just a story. It's a good story. But that's my take on it. Ronnie says, exactly, Rick. Listen, me and Jake are Southern Baptist and half Jewish. I don't know how that mixes. Those are two different religions, Melissa, but I think I know what you're talking about. I think you're referring culturally. A lot of people who are Jewish use the term to mean culturally, like, if you guys know what I mean, like cultural Jews. It's only really, it seems like Jews and Muslims seem to be the only real religions that have that kind of phenomenon of like cultural identity. There's a lot of people that are like what I'd say quote unquote culturally Muslim, because they're brought up in this like community, and it's very race based in many ways, Middle Eastern, but they may not actually identify with the faith of Islam, but they just call themselves Muslims because their family's all Muslim. They're just, and they just, same thing with Jews. I've met a lot of Jews who are like, I'm Jewish, and I'm like, well, so you that's your faith. They don't actually believe in God. they're just Jewish because it means two things these days. It means the cultural identity as well as the faith. Let's see. Have you ever heard of the comic book Judas Ash? It's an interesting story surrounding Judas and isn't really preachy. It's on Unlimited. Is it called Judas Ash? Or are you saying, have you heard of this book, Judas, and then addressing me, Ash? I have not heard of it. So I can look for that. If you think that might be something worth reading, we can talk about it. I know nothing about it. Let's see. All right, so that's the end of the comics. Let's go ahead and get started on our next book for the evening. I hope you guys have a nice cup of beverage or something refreshing. I'm drinking something you guys would never guess. You guys would never guess what I'm drinking. I wonder if I should make it a game to see if anyone guessed, but I don't think anyone ever would. So, well, you might guess if you were just trying to be outlandish and then guess something silly, and then you might accidentally nail it. Hope you guys have a drink. Let's get into Captain America. See if anyone can guess what I'm drinking by the end of this issue. And here we go. New York City, the financial district. You've taken care of it then? It's done? Perfect. I'll put in the call to Mr. Cross as soon as I get out of my meeting. Continue as planned until I contact you again. What are you doing, Alec? There's so much at stake right now, and you're making it more complicated. This assassin of Comrade Karpov's, that damn cube you... This assassin of Comrade Karpov's, that damn cube you took from the fascist. You worry too much, Leon. It's all part of the plan. And the cube is under my control. Though the skull was... Man, I'm just terrible these last couple days reading. And the cube is under my control, though the skull was right. It's got only a few drops of power left. Still, it's enough for my purposes, for the present. That thing, no good can come of it, I tell you. It's fitting, then, that I have nothing good planned for it. Now, my friend, are you going to play nursemaid all day, or are you going to help me take over an energy conglomerate?
Brooklyn, later that same morning. Ba-deep, 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 ba-deep. What is it, Sharon? Sorry to disappoint, Rogers. Oh, sorry. Thinking it was Sharon. Rewind. Sorry to disappoint, Rogers. I know I'm good looking, but I'm no Agent 13. Fury? What's going on? Did something happen to Sharon? Come on. Sorry. Comicsology crapped out on me. It was like, your reading sucks so bad and crashed the website. It's not a beer, guys. I'm not drinking any beer tonight. Got to get up for comics. All right, here we go. Back to the action. Sorry for the technical difficulties. She's fine. I just got a call from CID that you need to know about. And her security clearance doesn't cover this one. What is it? I'm sending through images now. Are they expecting me? They are. We'd fly you in, but this is a U.S. military matter, so I've got to keep S.H.I.E.L.D. at arm's length unless they invite us in. I can find my own way. You think this ties into the Skull's death somehow? I hate to make assumptions, but the timing is a big coincidence if it's not. Watch your back down there, soldier. Tony, it's Steve. Sorry to call so early, but I need your fastest jet waiting at LaGuardia in 10 minutes. S.H.I.E.L.D. helicarrier, headquarters of the UN Peacekeeping Task Force. Just the two of us, Nick? Kind of a small briefing, isn't it? Yep. And there's a reason for that, Sharon. Just had a development in the Skull case that I wanted to keep under wraps until we know more. Okay. But shouldn't Steve be here for this at least? He's got his hands full this morning already. But even if he didn't, he's one of the people I want to keep this information away from for now. You better just get right to the explanation phase of this meeting, I think. Early this morning, a sniper rifle was found inside a suitcase in the baggage turnstile at Dole's International. Ballistics checks showed it to be the weapon that killed the Skull. Wow, that's big. It gets bigger. There's prints on it. Clean ones. And that's where it turns ugly. The prints belong to Jack Monroe, who I believe you've met. A long time ago. He was the Bucky from the 50s. The crazy one. Right. Except when you were off the books, S.H.I.E.L.D. was able to cure him and put him back into society. Cap helped to make the transition and took him on as a partner for a while. He even took up Cap's one-time identity, Nomad. But Jack didn't have a smooth road. He's got a temper, and he's been pushed over the edge more than once. At one point, he was even brainwashed to becoming some character called Scourge. Killed a few costume criminals. We haven't heard from him for a few years, though, until now, when his fingerprints turned up on our murder weapon.
A little convenient, isn't it?
It is, just like that phone tip calling in the skull's body.
What do you want me to do?
Well, another little piece of convenience is that Monroe had a brief career as a SHIELD op, so we've got the ability to track him if we need to. Technology's primitive by today's standards, but there's a GPS tracker in his shoulder. Not that he knows about it. Thought it was just getting vaccinated.
You sneaky little...
That's my job description, isn't it? Anyway, like I said, the device is a dinosaur, but we can get him to within a few miles.
You want me to find him?
I do. But don't move on him. Just get close and keep him under watch. If he's our guy, he's got to be working for someone else. And if he's not our guy, then someone is playing with us. Either way, I'd like to find out who. I'll have the GPS transferred to your handheld en route.
Right. I'll call in when I've got something. And Colonel Fury, I've got the surveillance tapes from Dole's for you.
Great. Any progress on identifying the body they found in London yet?
Nothing so far, sir. Interpol is stalling us for some reason.
Right. Get their doctor on the horn. I've been needing to scream at someone all morning anyway.
Virginia, Arlington, National Cemetery.
Did they tell you who these men were?
War heroes. But when they said you should be contacted, I assumed it was a bit more than that. So who were they?
They were Captain America.
William Naslund originally went by the name the Spirit of 76. He was the lone American in a group of British heroes during the war. The invaders and I had a run-in with them once, the details of which are probably better left unsaid. But even after that debacle, after his team broke up, Naslund continued fighting for the Allies. I had a lot of respect for him, respect he earned. Jeff Mace was known as the Patriot back then. Spent the war years on the home front fighting Nazi spies and dissidents. He was a good friend of my partner, Bucky Barnes. He may not have been overseas in the trenches, but he saved a lot of American lives, including mine once. I'm sorry, you said they were both Captain America?
Yes. After me.
When Bucky and I were both MIA, presumed dead, the war was still on. The tide had turned, but President Roosevelt didn't want our GIs losing faith when they heard rumors of my death. So Naslund and a boy named Fred Davis took our places. Of course, Davis was years too young to fool anyone. Bucky was nearly 21 by the time we had disappeared, but no one noticed. People believe what they want to. Yes, they do. President Kennedy is buried down this way. Yeah, you have to walk past this area to get there, actually. That's appropriate. Why? Because these men saved him during his first campaign for Senate. William Naslund died saving him, died wearing my uniform. That's how Jeff Mace became the next Captain America.
He finished the job Naslund started that day, and because of them, Kennedy lived long enough to become president. Long enough to change this country for the better. Wish I'd been there to see it. The civil rights movement, the race to the moon. You're lucky to have lived then, Lieutenant Keller. I was actually born in 1973, sir. Time out. Coincidentally, that's when I was born. Sorry, back to the book. Really? Yes, sir. Sorry. So, any idea why someone would vandalize these men's graves? No one even knows who they were, except for top-level brass, right? Yes. All this would have been highly classified. So then, this is a shot at you, right? I'm afraid so. And when I figure out who it's a shot from, I'll let you know. Desecrating graves, who besides the skull would go that low? Or is this just more of his final orders being carried out, like London and Paris? No, if it was the skull, they would have left Bucky's headstone alone, they wouldn't have left Bucky's headstone alone. Who will it be to die first, Herr Captain? Who will sit by while his comrade screams his last, I wonder? Yar! What is that? Why would I? Blam! Blam! Shots fired. Get it together, Rogers. Someone's setting you up. Crossbones. Blam, 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 blam. He did this? Or perhaps I will take this one's eyes instead, like you took my face from me. Would you like to watch that? No! Oh! Wrong with you, screaming like some baby. I'm just getting started, pal. Better save some of that. Stay here, Steve. Stay in this fight. That's more like it. Ah, ha, 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 ha. Get the hell away from him, Zemo, you sick. What are these memories? Someone's getting inside my head. Ah. Wah. Can't keep them out. Leave him alone. Never gonna win this fight. Can't focus. Barely defending myself. Crack. No. What was that? That's not what happened. But, no, don't let this. Oof. This is pathetic. You're pathetic. You're the coward that has to cheat. Has to deface grave markers. What? What did you just say to me? Mm. Get it straight, Starman. I'm here for one thing, revenge. The skull ain't here to take his own, so I gotta be his hands. Coward. Ah, damn it. Freaking son of a bitch. I didn't go to no graveyard. Ugh. Some Russian guy just called and told me where I could find you today. But this is way too easy. I ain't taking you out like this. You tell that Russian too. Tell him he messed with the wrong hombre. Russian? Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Late that night. Can you triangulate that signal now, Control? Not much more than we already have. You should be within a block of him, from what I can tell. Sure. It just took me all day. Agent 13 out. Okay, Sharon. This is where all that spy training kicks in, right? If I were an ex-sidekick gone psycho, where would I be? Somewhere with a decent view of approaching cops and feds, right? Broken lock. Oh, this is too easy. Easy, girl. Remember, Fury just said get an eyeball and then back off. Ah! Wrong door. What? Crack. Sorry, that wasn't supposed to be. I said that wrong. I shouldn't have said it like a question. It's more of a wrong door. Crack. Well, that is the end of issue 4 of Cap'n America. Not to be confused with Cap'n Crunch. Although I would love to see a crossover of Captain America and Captain Crunch. That'd be great. All right. Let's get back. Where did I leave off? Melissa says, Great Grandma Maggie's Jewish. All right. So I'm assuming it's a family thing. Ryuk says, no, the comic is named just Judas. All right. You didn't get very many guesses on the drinks, man. I guess it's not a fun thing to do. I'm drinking Tang. It's the drink of astronauts. I love Tang. It's good. Rania did get the beer that I drink often correct, though, but not tonight. Jimmy says, Brubaker's cap is amazing. I am thoroughly enjoying it so far. And Steve Epting's art is on point. The more I see this guy's art, the more I become a fan. And it's really weird because I don't think he doesn't have an aesthetic that I like. If I just look at his like pinups, the style of it's too blotchy. It's too many heavy lines. It's just not my style. But man, does he know how to lay out a comic and do storytelling. It's fantastic. I am loving this book so far. I would thank Eric for recommending it to me, but Slacker's not here. So I get to talk behind his back. He's probably in the background. No, he would be making fun of me. He doesn't know how to lurk. Melissa says 50s Bucky, 50s communist busting cap. Mr. Fahrenheit says read Superman. I do read Superman quite occasionally. You've missed out on some recent Superman reads. But we'll probably get back to Superman. Anyone that wants to recommend comics, like I just reiterate, it has to be something that's either in my library or it has to be Comixology Unlimited, because that way I can read it. If it's got to be something I got to buy, then there has to be a compelling reason that I'm going to be spending this money on books. Or the final option is anyone is willing to donate books to the channel for me to read. That's probably the most sure way to get me to read something. But those are the, what do you say? The prerequisites if you're going to recommend something. Marani says, well, damn, another cliffhanger with Captain America. Yeah, Brubaker has been doing that. Like, each issue just leaves you hanging, which is probably a good thing. Let's see.
Melissa says it was also my grandmother. My dad's side is full-blooded Cherokee Indian. Oh, wow. All right. Ryuk says, we need Captain America comics like this now. Too straight. Like, holy cow. Oh, man. We haven't had how long has it been since we've had a good Captain America? Seriously. Marvel is just mishandling the crap out of this guy. Let's see. Marani says, orange tang? Yuck. Grape is good. My mom gave me St. Joseph's aspirin and orange tang when I was a kid. They have grape tang? I thought there was only one flavor. There's grape tang? No. Are you kidding? Mr. Fahrenheit says, thoughts on Sean Murphy as a writer and artist? I would say Sean Murphy is one of my top favorite artists today. And he's also one of my top favorite writers today. So I think both White Knight and Curse of the White Knight are fantastic, phenomenal. I've done reviews on both the books. Well, and actually, no, I don't think I did review White Knight 1. I did review Curse of the White Knight. And I break down some of the books. Like issue 4 was one of the reviews that I remember where I really broke down the mastery of comic storytelling. Sean Gordon Murphy is to me like a modern day Frank Miller. Kind of to a lesser extent because he's not having the same impact as Frank did. But what I say that is that he is someone who came on the scene almost feeling somewhat out of nowhere. Like, it's not like he had a big resume of stuff before he kind of broke big. Same thing with Frank Miller. Didn't really have a big resume. Like, just sort of came out of nowhere and just blew things up. And there hasn't been a level of excitement about a creator, at least in the modern era, that equates to that. It's the closest thing of people just going like, wow. And the reason I say this, that I kind of try to make this equation, is because being a writer and an illustrator, especially when you start off as an illustrator, which what Frank Miller did, right? He was an illustrator first that broke into writing. This doesn't happen very often. There are very few writer artists that are accomplished at both, right? There are artists and writers like Tony S. Daniel. Like he's known way more for his art, but he's written some stuff. No one ever likes it, from what I understand. I've never heard anyone say like, "Oh, you know," but he writes. Chip Zdarsky is known for he's backwards. He's interesting. He's a writer who does art. He's just never done any art that's been accomplished. And I'm sure if you're a big fan of comics, it's probably normal to dabble in one or the other. But to be accomplished at a high level at both, it's really, really rare. I mean, at the top of my head, Frank Miller's my number one, but you have like people like John Byrne. You have people like Walt Simonson. Who else? Mike Mignola to some extent, although he's really... I wish I could have seen Mignola be as a writer in like mainstream books. He's only done his own creative stuff, but he's pretty accomplished. I mean, 30 years of success. What else? I'm trying to think of other... what do you guys think? Who are some prominent writer illustrators that are like basically like award winning at both? Did I name them all? There's just not many. George Perez. Now, see, George Perez is a guy that I'm well known for his art, but I haven't ever heard anything astounding for his writing. RDV says Batman White Knight. Yeah, we were talking about this all started, RDV, by the way, welcome. what were my thoughts on Sean Gordon Murphy? Um, I I love man I love White Knight so much. Um, and man, Ryuk says hello, Todd McFarlane. See, there's where I have to disagree with you. Todd McFarlane is an amazing artist, but he is not a good writer. He's at best an okay writer, at best. Um, I'm talking about those few that are like top of the game in either category, right? Like if you were to say who are like the best artists, they would fit in that category. And if you said who are the best writers, they would also fit in that category. Frank Miller fits that. Walt Simonson fits that. John Byrne fits that. You know, like you don't have to top artist, top writer. George Perez, you know, he definitely fits in top artists. You think of top great artists, you think George Perez. Top writers, I don't think his name comes up in there. Mr. Fahrenheit says you should collab with Comic Book University. I think Comic University blocks me. I don't think he likes me. Let's see. Computer Robots is here. Hopefully not to activate Skynet and destroy the world. RDV says, read me Captain America Empire. No. I like scary bedtime stories. I don't know why, Mr. Fahrenheit, and you'd have to ask. Probably because has different ideologies than me. Be my guess. Typically, people that block other people. That's usually why. So I don't know. I don't know. It's been a while, so I would have to go back and check. Ronnie says, see my above comment about Bob Layton. Well, Maranya, all due respect, and I have immense respect for you. Bob Layton, I'm sorry to say, would not fit in either category. And he's definitely, from my experience at least, a better artist than a writer. But that doesn't mean he can't do both. I'm just talking about at the top level, you know. Bob Layton, to me, is that very solid artist. He did a good job. He's a craftsman. He was good at it, but he never reached that certain level. That's my opinion. Well, kids, RDV, is good to see you showing up. Computer Robot showing up late. What are you guys doing that you're showing up so late, by the way? You guys had another stream, I bet. That's usually what happens. It ends and then they dump into here. I hope you guys enjoyed those books. I'm sorry that I was kind of off on my reading. It's really difficult sometimes to read. With the whole like the panel view like that. Just because you don't have the context sometimes of who's saying what. It's really weird. I read comics so much easier when I can see the whole page, and I kind of know my peripheral vision can kind of see who's going to be talking next, and it helps me understand the tone of what's going on, where it's like on a single panel sometimes you can't. So I do my best. So Marani says he's a fantastic collaborator during the Michelini era. Well, that may be true. He may be an awesome collaborator. Sometimes that's important, you know. It's like what's the, you know, in basketball, like you might have your superstar, but you need an assists. You know, so assists are often more important than actual what do you call them, points. Where's Eric's here for the sports terms? Computer Robot says, I was watching Super Nanny, also playing Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. All right. Ed gives a thumbs up. So next what is it? Thursday, we'll be doing more reading and chatting and hanging out. Um, we are reading Daredevil. I read Daredevil issue number 1 tonight for you latecomers, and Captain America number 4. So it'll be issue 2 of Daredevil plus Captain America number 5. I believe this story arc will be 6 issues. I'll have to go in and double check. But like I said, I want to remind you, I keep recommendations open. We did have one recommendation for Abnett's Guardians of the Galaxy from, who was it that recommended? My brain is dead. I forget who recommended. I feel so bad. But throw out those recommendations. That'll help me to especially if it's something new that I haven't read before that I need to discover. That gives something for me to see, plus something to talk about, and I get to find a new book. I do have Lazarus here since Venkman is in the house. Venkman's been somewhat of a proponent on Lazarus, but he hasn't been super excited about it. He's been like moderately enthused about it, so I'm not 100% sure. But I want to thank everyone for showing up, saying hi. Hopefully you got some good comics coming out tomorrow and that you can enjoy and read. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys again on Thursday, reading more books. Until then, stay safe, stay unsick, or healthy, I guess would be the right word, and read good comics. Good night.